another video. Today I'm sharing with you 5 easy ways to help you achieve your health and weight loss goals in 2020. And I am so excited about this because I don't know about you, but I love me a new year. Just something about that calendar turning over, fresh new start, new beginnings, I guess. I mean, this could really be any time of the year, but it's just kind of official, you know? It's just official and it feels really good. And I gotta say, I am super pumped about my New Year's resolution or goal, whatever you like to call it. I've decided that in 2022, I am working on my fitness, which is something I've never worked on before. And I wanna be strong. That's something I've never really felt, and I'm excited to achieve that. I feel like I have a pretty good understanding about the foods to eat to get healthy and to help me get lean and stay lean. I mean, gosh, my food has really brought me a long way. I'm no longer pre-diabetic, my cholesterol is great, my hormones evened out, I sleep amazing, I have energy, I lost 50 pounds of body fat. I mean, there's so many more things I could go on about that food has really done to improve my life, and it will take me so far, everything that I know. But again, like, I want to get strong, and that is what I'm focusing on in 2022. How about you? I would love to hear what your New Year's resolution or goals are. Drop a comment below and let me know. So before we get started, I want to point out 2 things for you guys. The first one is that all of these ways, these 5 ways that I'm going to be talking about, they're all things that you can add to your life, because I found, at least for me, when I wanted to change something about myself or focus on a new goal and how to get to it, it always helped me focusing on the things that I was going to get rather than the things that I had to take away. So for example, when I switched over to a vegan, whole foods, plant-based diet, I didn't think about the foods that I wasn't gonna get to eat anymore, even though I was excited to drop that. I focused on what I was going to get to eat. Fruits and vegetables. Mostly I was excited about potatoes and bread and rice and beans and not having to count calories and not having to measure out portions or weigh my food, getting to eat in abundance. Those were the things I focused on, the positive things that I was gonna get to change in my life. Now, the second thing I want to mention is to make sure you have realistic expectations. Okay, so let's just say your goal is to drop 50 pounds in 2022. Understand that that takes some time. Part of changing yourself, part of getting to a goal is creating new habits, and that takes some time. You can't do that overnight. So please don't jump into this new adventure of yours and try 100 things all at once. You're gonna get extremely overwhelmed and possibly feel like giving up. I think this is why so many people don't follow through with their New Year's resolutions, is because they just jump right in, which is great. I love that enthusiasm. I am that type of person. But they're not really thinking things through and they're doing too much at once. So just have realistic expectations. I always like to take goals of mine and kind of break them down into little sections as to how I'm gonna get there. First, I'm gonna do this, and then after I accomplish that, I'm gonna do this, and then after I accomplish that, I'm gonna do this, and so on and so forth until I actually end up getting to that goal. So maybe, let's say your goal is to lose 50 pounds. You try one thing and you focus on that one new change that's gonna get you to that 50 pounds, but you focus on that one new change for 2 or 3 months. And then once you've mastered that, once that's become a new habit, the new you, then you focus on another new habit to change about yourself. Does that make sense? It's just an idea, but I find that that's always worked for me, and that's always made achieving any kind of goal I wanted seem realistic and doable, and sure enough, I got there. All right, so let's get to these 5 ways or tips, we could call them tips, to help you achieve your health and weight loss goals in 2022. The first one you've probably heard me talk about before, or other YouTubers out there, but the first one is to eat lower calorie dense foods and more nutritionally dense foods. Now, the key to this is really understanding calorie density. And I've talked a lot about this in other videos. I'll link them up above and below to really get a better understanding. There's some other YouTubers who really have great explanations on this. But if you look at all the food in the world on a chart, there's some foods that are higher in calories per pound versus lower in calories on theirs. So for instance, let's take a pound of cheese. I know lots of people can eat pretty close to a pound of cheese. I know I used to probably be able to when I ate the standard American diet. I'm gonna look on my phone for this because this is kind of crazy. 1 pound of cheese, okay, is 1,831 calories. That's a lot of calories for 1 pound of cheese. Now compare that to 1 pound of apples, okay, which is going to completely fill your stomach. There's probably no way you could eat a pound of apples. 1 pound of apples is 237 calories. So that's calorie density. That's what I mean when I say focus on eating more nutritionally dense food, lower on the calorie density scale versus higher calorie foods. These things like apples, carrots, rice, beans, lentils, even pasta, oats, potatoes, these things are just naturally lower on that big calorie density scale. Again, if we're looking at all of the foods that we consume as humans. And the great thing about eating a whole foods plant-based diet is most of those foods are lower on the calorie density scale. Now that's not including nuts, seeds, avocados, and oils, okay? Oil is actually the most calorie dense food, if we want to call that a food, on this planet. And that is exactly why I don't eat any oil. There's really no need for it in my book, so I just avoid it at all. But the more foods you eat that are lower in calories and higher in nutrition, the more satisfied you're gonna feel because you're gonna get to eat more food and fill your stomach and not go over with your calories for the day. That's why when you're eating the standard American diet, you find that you have to count calories or measure out things. It's because most foods on the standard American diet, meat, dairy, eggs, all of that stuff is very, it's very dense in calories. So to lose weight, you gotta keep track of it. You have to eat smaller portions because there's so many calories packed in a pound of whatever it is you're eating, or even half of a pound. Whereas when you're eating whole foods, plant-based diet, you kind of don't have to worry about that so much because those foods are low in calories and it can be at times hard to eat enough calories. All right, moving on to number 2, make a commitment to be active every single day. Now, I am not saying go out and run 2 miles every single day of your life. That would be kind of exhausting, at least for me. What I am saying is make a commitment to do just more than what you're doing now. If you're just sitting on the couch every day, make a commitment to get up and just do something extra for 10 minutes a day. It can be as easy as that. Now, ultimately, your goal would be to consistently be active for 30 to really even 45 minutes a day. Ultimately, that's your way to really good health. But in the beginning, just start somewhere. I know on one of my coaching calls, I talked to someone who just really didn't have time to do anything. And I told her, I said, she wasn't doing any activity. And I told her, I said, can you just walk up and down the stairs 5 times? Can you just do that every day? And she said, well, yeah, I could probably work that in. I said, let's just make that commitment. Let's just go up and down the stairs 5 times a day. It's better than what you're doing now, which is nothing. And so she walked up and down the stairs 5 times a day, and sure enough, that turned into her doing 30 minutes of activity. She didn't continue to walk up the stairs for like the rest of the year, but she moved it to something else, and she realized she could make time in her day to do it. And make sure that you're doing something that you love. You don't have to go out and do CrossFit or go run a marathon or even go run a mile. If you don't like doing those things, please don't do them because it's not going to be sustainable for you. This has to be something that you love to do. For me, I love to hike. I like to walk, I prefer hiking, and so I do a lot of hiking. I love being out in nature. But if some of those things don't seem doable to you, some other ideas, I always thought it was fun to just wear like a pedometer and make sure I was doing 10,000 steps a day. That way I wasn't like committing to a specific activity. I was just making sure I was more active for the day. And that was really fun for me. And if you don't think you can do 10,000 steps a day, do 7 or do 5, but just do more than what you're doing now. And you'll find that if you're doing this every day, it will become a new habit, and hopefully the amount of activity that you're doing increases until you're doing at least 30 to 45 minutes every day. And that's definitely something that will help you get to your health and weight loss goals. For sure, health. Because we know to be healthy, you gotta be active every day. You just do. I mean, you could be as thin as you wanna be, but if you are not moving your body, there's so many things that can still go wrong inside. Your triglycerides could still be high, your lymphatic system isn't moving. It's so important to be your healthiest, to have some type of activity on a daily basis. And then for weight loss, listen, it's no secret, you don't have to be active to lose weight. It certainly helps, but I mean, I'm a great example. The first 30 pounds I lost 2 years ago, I really wasn't doing any activity. It really had to do with what I was putting in my mouth. And that does have a lot to do with, you know, what you look like on the outside, but the inside we also need to be focusing on, and we've got to be active to be healthy on both the outside and the inside. So that's a good one you can add to the bunch. Now for me, because you know this is kind of going to be my wheelhouse in 2022, my activity. Since I'm working on my fitness, I have decided I'm still going to hike because it's fun, but I am focusing on jumping instead. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited, and I'm going to be following along with the Trophy twins, Sally and Stephanie, with I Jump Instead. If you guys don't know who these girls are, oh man, I'll link them below. I mean, I'll put a little picture right here or right here. I don't know where I'm going to end up putting it, but they are amazing. They got lean, tone, strong, all by jumping. It's pretty amazing, and it seems super fun, and so I'm gonna do it. I hope that I am able to update you guys at least every month in this next year on it. Hopefully I'm able to flex some muscles for you. I can't wait, but yeah, I'm gonna be jumping instead. All right, number 3. This one's pretty easy, but it actually can be a toughie, okay? This one is to just focus on and watch what you're eating in between meals, and even, you know, throughout the day. I know for me, it can be very easy for me to pick on a couple crackers I'm packing in my kids' lunch, or just kind of grab a little cookie over here. It's just one cookie, right? Let me tell you, these things add up, and I am a great example of this. This past summer, when my kids were home from school, I did a lot of little picking here and there, and I actually gained 3 pounds of body fat just from picking. I'm not talking about like 3 pounds of water weight, or I mean, this was legit 3 pounds of body fat that I gained that I had to get off and work really hard to get off, and then end up right back where I was. You'd be surprised at how the calories can add up just by grabbing a few little crackers here, a cookie there. They do add up. Also, watch what you're drinking, okay? It's very easy to drink 120 calories like that. That is not filling you up in the way of your appetite, and it's just packing in the calories for that day. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, what about smoothies? Smoothies, the great thing about smoothies is you're still keeping the fiber in there to help keep you full. Now, yes, you are processing the fruit, so it's getting more compacted. It's a lot easier to drink one banana, an apple, and, you know, I don't know, in a whole thing of spinach than it would be to actually sit down and eat it. So it is easier to drink calories in that sense than to eat them. But because you're keeping the fiber in there, usually a smoothie will still keep you full and satisfied for an extended period of time. When I eat smoothies, I like to just make them a part of my meal. I don't eat them in between meals. So if I have a smoothie, I'll have that with a big salad on the side. Yeah, smoothies are fine. Just, it's always best to kind of drink smoothies slower. It's easy to gulp one down really quick. That's usually better because you're consuming that sugar at a slower pace, like I was saying, versus drinking it all at once. The sugar from fruit is great for you, but think about this. We weren't made to drink all of that sugar at once. We were made to slowly eat an apple, and then if you want a banana after, that's fine. But the process of chewing and digesting and all of that, the sugar hits your body a lot slower than it does when you're gulping it down, drinking it. So I always say it's probably best to just drink the smoothie slower than slamming it down. All right, moving on to number 4. This idea really helped me when I first was transitioning over to a plant-based diet, and it is to put yourself on a meal schedule. Now, I know this may sound kind of boring, but sometimes boring is good. Did you know that there was a study actually done that showed having too many options, having too many things to eat actually can cause you to gain weight? And when you narrow your options, people tend to usually choose healthier, not so fattening things to eat. So what would something like this look like? Well, let me first say it doesn't look like restricting any type of nutrients whatsoever, but it does look like having fewer meal options to choose from. So still include all those nutrient-rich plant foods in your meals, just stop giving yourself so many different ways to eat those. So for example, a great way for me to get consistent with a whole foods plant-based diet, with eating this way, was for me to rotate my meals. And I would do this, maybe every week or every 2 weeks. Let's say for breakfast, I'm really enjoying Rip's Big Bowl, which I pretty much enjoy all the time. But let's just say, for conversation's sake, Rip's Big Bowl is something I'm loving at the time, and oatmeal, okay? So that's breakfast. Then I'm going to make sure those are the only 2 breakfast options that I eat for that week or even the next week, okay? I do the same thing with lunch and I do the same thing with dinner. I'm only giving myself 2 breakfast ideas, 2 lunch ideas, and 2 dinner ideas, and that's it, okay? Now, of course, I'm throwing spinach in there, and kale, and flax seeds, all these great nutrient-rich things. I'm making sure I'm adding to my meals so I'm getting a variety of nutrients. But as far as the meal itself goes, I'm not sitting down and planning out a whole week of, okay, Monday I'm gonna have oats for breakfast. Tuesday, maybe I'll have, bran flakes. Wednesday, I'll have pancakes. Friday, I'll have... All of those options can not only get confusing, they can be overwhelming. It can make this way of life seem very confusing. I just love doing this because it takes the guesswork out of what I'm going to eat. Again, it allows me to get consistent, and also it allows me to create good habits surrounding food. And last but not least, the 5th thing we're going to talk about today is to get organized. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what in the world does this have to do with my health and weight loss goals? This has a ton to do with your health and weight loss goals, because when I'm talking about getting organized, I'm talking specifically about your pantry and your refrigerator and your freezer. Now, I've done quite a few videos on this topic. Many of you know me talking about becoming a pantry chef. That's really what I'm talking about here, and I will link that video, there's 2 of them, up above and in the description box. But what I mean when I say that is, I don't sit down on, let's say, a Sunday and write a menu out for what I'm gonna have, what me and my family are gonna have for the week, and then take those ingredients for those meals, go grocery shopping, buy all those ingredients. I don't do that. It's too much work for me, and it sounds really overwhelming. What I do is I think about all the staple plant foods that I love to eat. Beans, rice, tortillas, my Ezekiel bread, my Rips Big Bowl, fruits, veggies, tons of frozen fruits and veggies, pasta, quinoa, okay, all of these things I make sure I always have fully stocked in my pantry and in my refrigerator. And what's so great about having all of these things in stock is I can literally just walk in my pantry and grab a can of tomato sauce, a can of beans, go grab some tortillas and some romaine lettuce and make myself some tacos or some refried black beans on tacos, put some avocado on top. It's never hard for me to throw together a meal because I always have stuff. And that's the thing. I don't need to sit down and figure out extravagant recipes to make because I can walk in my pantry, look around, grab some rice, grab this, grab that, open up my refrigerator, grab a few items, and I have a complete meal that is delicious. But I cannot tell you how important it is for you to be organized with your food in your house. I can't stress enough how important it is for your health and your weight loss goals for you to be organized with your pantry, your refrigerator, and maybe not, when I say organized, I don't mean like neat. I just mean organized in a sense where you have your staple foods here all the time. Because you could be the best meal prepper in the world. You could be the best person who sits down and plans out what you're gonna have for the week. Fantastic. But if you gotta pick up those kids from school, let's say, and then truck them to basketball, to gymnastics, and you didn't have enough time to cook, and you come home and you're starving and there's nothing in that pantry, I'm telling you, those are the moments where you cave. Those are the moments where you order pizza or you do something that's not in line with your goal. So please make sure you are organized when it comes to your health and your weight loss goals. Two things I want to mention before I wrap up this video. I think it's important to say that it is fantastic to have someone or something that is motivating you. That's great. But I want you to remember, motivation is fleeting. It does not stay. So please don't look for motivation to keep you going throughout the year. What you need to have is discipline, okay? So make this commitment to yourself and stick to it. Motivation, again, it's great to have someone motivating you, but know that there's gonna be a day that comes where you're not feeling motivated. You're not gonna feel like going a walk around the block. You're not gonna feel like eating spinach or, having potatoes or eating plant-based, but you made this commitment to yourself. Do it. Stay disciplined. Keep consistently doing the same things you are practicing and trying to do, and that will become a habit. And the second thing I want to tell you is there's going to be bumps in the road, okay? There's gonna be little hiccups. There's gonna be a day where maybe you falter a little bit. Don't let that ruin the whole thing. Don't let your mind talk you out of doing it and telling yourself like, oh, I'm weak, I can't do it, look what I did already. Because this isn't true. We are human. Everybody has little bumps in the roads. I did, I still do. The important thing is I don't let that throw me off. If I, eat something that I'm not supposed to eat, I just tell myself, whoop, shouldn't have did that. I'm not gonna do it again. And the next time I put something in my mouth, it is in line with the way that I want to eat. Does that make sense? I know you can do it. I know you can, okay? This is gonna be awesome. Keep at it. And remember, it's great that it's the new year and everybody starts these new things, but you can start in March, in June, in September, in October. It doesn't have to be the new year for you to give yourself permission to do something new. We can do it any time of the year. It's pretty awesome. But it is exciting for it to be a new year and to kind of go with that momentum of everyone starting some new things. All right, I love you guys. It has been a fabulous 2021. I can't thank you guys enough for your love, your support, watching these videos, commenting, liking them. By the way, if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I would love to see you stick around in 2022. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I'm wishing you guys all the health and happiness in the new year, and I will see you in 2022. Okay, bye.